Hello people of the internet, it is your boy Kishiwishi, and today we are going to be doing a movie review. I decided to bring my pretty face back onto the camera because, you know, I think me just talking behind some video gameplay is just probably getting some of you guys bored. You know, just adding some dynamic to my videos, including the camera following me wherever I go. Today I wanted to review a movie that my girlfriend recommended me and my other friend to watch with her. Hokum. I'm not gonna lie, you can already tell by the video title, I was not a big fan of the movie, and I'll tell you why. So the movie Hokum, it takes place, the entire movie, right? The entire movie felt like a bottle episode. If you don't know what a bottle episode is, it's essentially where the entire plot takes place in one location and it doesn't move from that location until like some resolution comes about, and it usually takes up a lot of time, like inside a lot of shows that you may watch, i.e. you could say Victorious when they were trapped inside the bulletproof bus, I think it was, or like Community when they were trapped inside the study room. Those are bottle episodes, and it's a big phenomenon that has been inside media for a very long time. Like I just mentioned, I don't remember what the first ever like bottle episode was, but that's essentially what the entire movie was. It takes place inside this hotel, and by the way, this review is gonna be almost entirely spoiler free. I'll try my best to just be as vague about the story plot points, but the movie in the trailers, it misrepresents itself in a way where it's a thing that's been happening in media where movies do misrepresent themselves on a very semi-regular basis, where you see all the highlights of the conflict in the trailer, but then when you actually watch the movie, the conflict does not feel as dire as it did in the trailer, or the conflict just was boring. And that's the thing with this movie. And apparently the production company behind this movie is known as Neon. If you don't know Neon, they're basically they're kind of like A24 but different, right? That's how I'll say it. They're A24 but different. You see, A24 gave us Euphoria and other shows. Neon gave us Parasite. If you've seen that movie won a lot of awards. I personally haven't watched it. I should probably give it a watch. By the way, this is research I did for like 2 minutes, so maybe it's a different production studio that's also under the moniker Neon, but as of right now, I know it said Neon's behind it. So Neon, I don't know, for some reason when I was watching the movie, like a lot of other shows, or not shows, other films that were also being advertised in the previews, they all had the Neon logo in the beginning of it, which made me a little bit confused because I'm like, Neon, is this the new A24? I've never heard of them, but they've been around since 2017, kind of like A24. But the thing with Hokum, it's a movie where it feels as if it was supposed to be shown at a Sundance Film Festival or some film school project. That's what I would describe the movie as. Like, for the casual audience, which 90% of the people that go to the theaters still, like people that actually spend money to go to the theater with their friends, are going to be pretty casual people. Maybe I'm thinking about it differently, and there's a lot more intelligent people that go to the theaters. Not saying that the casual audience isn't intelligent, but Jesus Christ, a look at the American literacy rate.
Extraordinary, but somewhat culture.
Now explain what that means.
I don't know.
She wore a sahalat of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro, but somewhat gooch.
What does that mean?
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore. Bro, I don't know, bro. Can you take the card back, please?
She wore a. Oh, baby. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were. Bitch, I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read. I don't know why.
It's fucking terrible. For the casual audience, the movie is confusing at best, overly trying to teach you something at worst. And I feel like this movie is the movie for the midwits. It gives you enough vague plot points that attach to real world concepts for you to think that you're smart for catching it. But if you think you're smart solely for catching it, you're kind of dumb. And what do I mean by this? So the entire movie plot, first of all, the movie starts off with the guy, Adam Scott. If you know Adam Scott, he's been in a lot of comedy movies like Hot Tub Time Machine 2, and he was also in Severance if you watch anything over on Apple TV, which I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm not a big Severance fan. I fucking love Severance. That next season better drop right now. I need it. Ben Stiller? You're telling me Ben Stiller wrote this fucking story for Severance? Alex from Madagascar wrote this shit? Yeah, that shit's good. But see, seeing Adam Scott in Severance and then seeing him in Hokum, it's kind of the same person where he's a very donor, disrespectful person because of what he's went through, you know, in the show Severance. Spoiler alert. Well, technically not spoiler alert, but from the very beginning of the show Severance, you learn that it's because of his wife's death he went under the procedure. This movie, it's all about him it's literally about him going back to Scotland and dropping off his parents' ashes. That's what happens in the movie. But what the movie's actually about is completely different from what actually happens in the movie, at least from my perspective or my opinion. You know, this is a Kishi review, so it might not line up with the other critics' reviews. But the beginning of the movie, he was a writer, and he was writing a story. Apparently he's like a well-known writer, kind of like George Orwell or like freaking Quan Mills, you know. He just has a lot of books that a lot of fans enjoy to read. In this book, he was writing the ending of a series where it's basically a conquistador inside the desert with a child they're both emaciated, they're both desperate, hungry. They could basically die of hunger or thirst within the time frame that a human body can die of hunger or thirst, but rather quickly because they're already in the desert, sand for miles. He has this bottle that's made out of glass, and there's nothing hard for Miles to break the bottle except for a skull or a living person's head, so the child's head. So the start of the movie ends off with a scene of the conquistador holding up the bottle, and he's about to smash the head of the kid. And the point of that, in the story, you find out that he wants the ending of that series to be very bleak, but at the same time, he wants it to be up to the interpretation of the reader. And that doesn't make any sense, because how is it gonna be up to the interpretation of the reader how the ending is if your intent of the ending to be bleak? Like, it's just bleak. Like, okay, he smashed the kid's head. The bottle, there was a thing where it's like, oh, he's gonna smash the kid's head, kill the kid, and then he doesn't have the strength to actually open the bottle didn't break, so he just wanders off and fucking die in the desert. Like, yeah, mind you, this is the first 5 minutes of the film, so this isn't a spoiler at all. So that's basically what the start of the film was. It's like them showing him writing the story, and you've seen the scene from the story, not actually the movie. Now the actual movie portion, he's basically, his parents died years ago. He's had this guilt about it the entire time. The guilt that he has is just so deep that it goes into his art. And, you know, in a sense, having guilt or like grieving over someone's death and then sublimating that into an art form is a good story device, because it's like, okay, this is a troubled man, but he's already established in the world to do it this way. Why are we making him a fucking asshole? Like, the main character is an asshole that it's really hard to like him. And the only reason why throughout the movie, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but the only reason why you kind of like him, and it's very optional to like him, first of all, is it reveals why he is the way he is after the fact, which most of the time when you do something like that, it works. But for this movie, the way they present it to you is in such a creepy way where I don't care for him, because yeah, you're showing me his backstory, but I don't feel bad for him in the backstory, because it just feels like that scene was inserted there to make the movie scarier, not to per se add to the story, if you know what I mean. Like, there are a lot of scenes where they would show him like, oh, this is a thing, or this is how he feels about his mom's death, but at the same time it's just like you're presenting it in a very creepy way where it's not endearing for me to be like, oh, okay, I feel for him. It's just like, oh, okay, that's some weird shit. Oh, and it's not like it showed what happened, it just shows how he feels about it, so you don't even know what happened. It never actually shows why he feels the way he feels for what happened in the movie. And then there was the thing where I said is for Midwits, where it shows real life concepts to bring it into the movie. There was a lot of symbolism with people killing goats, and you know, killing a goat is like, you know, sacrifice to the gods, you know, you kill something pure. You know, the movie like dances around the idea of purity, but it never fully delivers. Till the very end is where it delivers, but throughout it'll show like different imageries of purity, like, you know, the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Yeah, like it showed that in the movie, but that has two different interpretations. In the Eastern interpretations, I forgot the name of the monkeys, but basically Pansear, Pansage, and Panpour from Pokemon, there were these wise monkeys who said, if you don't bear witness to evil, you are pure. But then the Western interpretation of that is, you're see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, is basically turning a blind eye to wrongdoing, which they explore both of these themes at the same time in the movie. And towards the end, where it's more so the Eastern interpretation, it ends off with the Eastern interpretation of the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil versus the Western one, which is like, I get it, you're trying to subvert expectations, but at the same time, you're subverting it so much to the point where, and by the way, I'm saying this is a bad movie for the casual audience. If you're an actual intellectual, or like you're a film student, this is an amazing movie, because it does everything that a film school project would do. Even the concept of Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's gun was such a major thing in the movie, where an object that was literally used earlier on in the movie just appears in this nigga's pocket. It just appeared in his pocket. There was no scene that showed him acquiring. Actually, no, I lied. I take it back. It showed him acquiring it, but the way he acquired it was so weird. So you see, like, I have to think about it to even catch that. So for the casual audience who's probably not paying that much attention to the movie to say, okay, it made sense, because I just remembered the scene in particular that I'm talking about where he acquired the object that I'm saying. The casual audience doesn't care to be spoken down to. The casual audience wants to be scared. They want to feel. The entire movie just had me inside my head while watching it. At no point did I go into the world of the movie. I was just thinking, okay, I caught that, caught this, okay. And me and my friend, my best friend, as we were watching the speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil part, we literally turned to each other and said it at the same time, because it was just so blatantly obvious for people that are always inside their heads. Because I turned, like, per yin and yang at play, me and my best friend, we're like the yin, we're the same, so we're talking about it. I turned over to my girlfriend, she said the movie sucks because it just wasn't scary. The trailers misrepresented it. And you know, just to follow the theme of the movie as well, I made sure not to mention the Donnie Darko motherfucker from the trailer. That Donnie Darko nigga, he was in the movie for like 2 scenes. Like, the trailer showed him off so much you thought, oh, he's gonna be like a boogeyman chasing after him. No, the Donnie Darko nigga showed up for like 2 scenes and fucked off. He had 1 full scene of him talking. The other scene was just, it was like a fake out where you saw him for a second but turned out to be another person. Like, it was so weird. For the casual audience, this is my final score. I score this movie a 4 out of 10. For someone who is super into films and the art of filming, because, you know, myself, I used to be super into movies and wanting to be a movie director when I come up, but, you know, being a YouTuber is just as good, right? I would give the movie more of like a 7 or 8 out of 10, only because as a production it did what it was supposed to do, but in terms of like for the viewer, it alienates the viewer too much to the point where I can't give it a 10 out of 10. But like as a movie itself, I can see why critics would rate it as high as they would if they did. I haven't saw any reviews, I just watched the movie last night. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys have seen the movie, tell me what was your favorite part. Do you know what I mean by Chekhov's gun? I didn't even mention, like, you know what, I'm gonna leave it there. Spoiler free review. All right, anyways, peace. Be good people. Don't make movies that require people to think too much. Make them think just enough and enjoy it. See ya.